Welcome, beautiful souls. My name is Carmen Benton, and this is Living Intentionally. Today, we're going to be talking about astrology and human design. Basically, how to unlock your full potential. And for that, I have with me Angela Lundy, and she is a lifelong pursuer of happiness and purpose. And she has used human design, astrology, and gene keys on herself to gain a really deep understanding of who she is and what she came here to do. In human design, she is a 6-2 manifesting generator. With this, she lives a multi-passionate life doing things she loves, and you would consider herself as a lifelong learner and more of a guide than a coach. She is leading people through a journey of rewriting their stories so they can uncover their genius. And I'm going to tell you, before we say hi to Angela, that I am just scratching the surface of human design. But before I talked to her, I had done a free test. I'm a 5-1 projector. And I'm like, nope, I don't like it. And then I talked to Angela, and she actually changed my mind. And that's what I wanted to bring her here so she can, illuminate all our consciousness with these amazing concepts. And she had so many beautiful modalities that she mixed here. And so I can't wait for you guys to hear this beauty. And so welcome, Angela, to the podcast.
Thank you, Carmen. I'm so excited to be here. I've been geeking out on all this stuff for so long, and it's just time to share it all. And I'm so excited to be here with you and your audience so we can talk this out together.
Yeah. So let's start with your story. How do you get into human design?
So, I've kind of had this back and forth path. I came in really remembering past lives and really being connected to the other side, and then kind of having some fear and anxiety and things like that come up. And as I grew up, kind of trying to push all this stuff away so that I didn't feel so scared, or I felt, more grounded in this earth. And then all the different paths come up, and you just keep getting it brought back. And luckily my grandma was a psychic, and not that she, we always tease because she was just a regular person that just had this gift, and she did use it. But she wasn't wearing crazy crystals or out there on the, she
Hey, I have my crazy crystals.
I have crystals around me too, but back in the day it was very, so she always had all the books, all of the New Age. And she considered herself a very strong Christian, and that's what she was rooted in, but she could see how everything intertwined, and she had all the books and all the things. And so I spent a lot of time reading all the books and being into all the things. And then I went off to college and kind of lost my way and had to be brought back a few times, and had a lot of anxiety and things come up. And my best friend that I met, I went off to the military because, why not? Don't know what I'm going to do. Let's just go have an adventure. Which is in human design, I have this wave that's yeah, let's do it, no problem. And then oh crap, what'd I do? but it turned out really, really great. I met my best friend, and I went back to school, to college. I thought I was going to be a nutritionist. I thought I was going to heal everybody through diet. And I was going to be I went to culinary school. I thought I was going to create these beautiful dishes and heal people through this. And through that journey, of course, I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and all these food allergies, and now I can't cook or eat, and now I have anxiety and I can't. And so I just kept finding new tools. It was okay, here's a tool. My friend and I, we went to the Edgar Cayce School for Transpersonal Psychology together. We both worked on our master's. I think she got a master's in herbalism, but we didn't finish that degree. But we we learned, how to meditate and how to teach people to find their purpose and all these things. And you had to use the Enneagram, human design, and some of these tools. And so I kind of got introduced, and then I heard a podcast and I was like, I'm a 6'2", she's a 6'2", it just like kept resonating, and I'd pick it up and I'd do what I do, and I'd learn every single thing. And then I'd throw it down and be like, no, this isn't for me. And then I pick it up and learn and that's just how I learn. Right. So I would put it down. And then I just came to this moment, that I was like, okay, it's time to like certify and get serious about human design. And so I put my all into it for about a year, and then finally had to live it. Right. And then you have to live it. And when you live it, you have to admit, okay, this job is sucking the life out of me. If I surrender to my design and I do what I'm supposed to do, like I have to quit this job. I have to live a more purposeful life. I have to. And so I quit the job. I started my podcast. I started doing human design readings full time. And here I am.
That's amazing. And so, as I asked the question, I'm like, oh, shoot. I don't know that everyone knows what human design is. So let's do that. But I'm going to show, this is what the graph looks like. That's my graph, by the way. But yes, let's start. What is human design?
Yeah. And so most people have a jumping off point of understanding astrology, right? Either they've seen their sun sign, or they've seen, they understand that the cosmos can be connected to the time of birth. And so human design uses this. It uses Western and Eastern astrology. So you put your birth time in. It also uses the Kabbalah tree of life, the Chinese or the Hindu chakra system. So you could see that there was a 9-centered beating.
Yes.
Yep. So you could see the chakra system. It pulls in the Chinese I Ching that's been around for centuries. It pulls all of this together to give you these channels and these different centers and puts it all in one place. And that's what I really love about human design. It gives me a really comprehensive picture. And I think you said that you were interested in, was it engineering, or because it's circuitry, right? Your mind.
Yeah. When I saw it, I'm like, please give me more. I'm a mechanical engineer by education, so it's a circuit. Yes.
Yeah. And that's what it does for me too. When I look at a chart, I'm like, ooh, I really understand how somebody's energy works, right? Like I can see the circuits that they have consistent energy to. I can see where they're very open to the world. And so human design gives us all of this in this body graph. And then it gives us these profiles, kind of like, how do I attract the world? How do I show up? And then it gives you your type, like what's my aura look like? What's my, and so when we understand this, we can understand interactions between ourselves and others, and why we, you're a 5-1 type in human design. That's like, you're really good at coaching people because you're like, I can do this. I can take care of you. I can fix anything, right? Like a 5 is the best fixer there is, right? Like my mom, you can't have a conversation with her without her fixing it. She's always fixing it because the 5 is really good at fixing. It's really good at figuring out, oh, let's fix that. Let me take care of you. Let me help you. So they're really good coaches. And then that 1 line likes to go, and it's like, I just need a little information. I need that foundation. I need to investigate this. And you really dive in. Like you love to investigate. You love all the knowledge. You love, like, I can't wait to teach you human design. Yeah, because you're going to dig deep and you're going to learn it all. And you're going to know more than I do in a year. Like it'll be great. And so it's just nice for me first to understand myself. Why do I show up in the world in this way? And I have an emotional wave, and astrology doesn't show me this. People didn't teach me this. I didn't know this until I learned human design. And now I'm like, oh, I get really, really excited. And then I fall off a cliff, right? And it's like, now that I understand that, how can I work with this? Instead of getting so upset with myself, oh, there she goes again, excited about this and then dropping it, excited about this and then dropping it. Now I know my pattern. I can loosen the reins a little bit and know that when I'm excited, I have a lot of energy for this. And when I'm not, I don't. Focus on something else, right? Like, don't get, oh, why did it go away? that's how I am. It's going to be an up and down pattern. And knowing that gave me so much more understanding of my energy and how to show up in my full potential and not beat myself up for it, but
Right.
really love that about myself. And I'm a manifesting generator, so I'm multi-passionate, right? Like I might geek out about astrology for 3 weeks straight and not even look at a human design chart, and then I'll come back. Like, it's like, what is lighting you up? And that's what guides me.
That's beautiful. And so you mentioned your type, manifestor generator. I mentioned some of my type, projector. So let's just like very quickly like touch upon like the 5, I think it's 5 types.
Yeah, so we could say 4 or we could say 5 because the generator type is a sacral being. So if you have that sacral, that little what is it, a square, it's the second square up. If you have that defined, that just means you're a sacral being. So if you have it defined into the throat, you're a manifesting generator. If you just have it defined, you're a generator. Generators typically are more focused, right? They're going to dig in deep. My husband and my son are generators. They dig in deep and they go after one thing. My other son and I are manifesting generators. We're like, yeah, we're here and we're here and we're here and we're here. That the grass is always greener was made for people like us, but it's good for us to try the different grasses, right? But yeah, so you can be a manifesting generator. That's about 70% of the population, about 35 and 35. 35% are generators, 35% are manifesting generators. So 70% of the population creates this energy. They're the creators, the builders. They go out and they're ready to work. Like if I want to do something, I literally was reading and learning about astrology, this new technique that I've been perfecting, 7 a.m. yesterday till 11 p.m. last night. Barely stopped to eat, right? Like I could go all day if I'm lit up by it.
Right.
So that's the generator though, right? If you're lit up, if it's for you, if you're a manifesting generator and you have no energy, you are not doing the right things. You are meant to be energized. You are meant to create energy in this world. You are meant to be excited, turned on by life, right?
Right.
And that magnetizes everything you need to you. When you're turned on by life, when you've got all that creation energy, everything comes to you, right? And then we have the projector. You're a projector. It's about 20% of the population. Projectors are really meant to be guides. They're really good at kind of going up to a higher view, and they can kind of see the energy, right? My mom's a projector and she had 3 generator daughters, and we'd go to the store and she'd throw her arms out and say, whoa, 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 wait, let's think about this. Always, wait, let's think about this. Because she knew all this energy was this one's going to want to go here, and this one's going to want to go here, and this one's going to want to go here. But she's a projector and she's like, whoa, let's focus our energy in one direction. Projectors are really good at that. They're really good at zooming in on one person and seeing you deeper than anybody's ever seen you. When you're seen by a projector, whoa. I don't know if your audience is into pop culture, but I love seeing Travis Barker and Kourtney Kardashian.
Yeah.
Travis Barker's a projector. And when he zeroes in on Kourtney's the only person in the world, right? Like you can see it. When he zeroes in on drumming is the only that, so that's a projector, and they're really good at guiding the energy. They're really good. They're very good coaches. They're very good guides. They're very, very good at working one-on-one with people and getting them where they want to go.
You guys heard that, right? You heard that.
Yes. But the thing about projectors are when you show up in the world incorrectly, your energy's drained.
I've been reading.
Yeah. And that's the thing is as generators here to respond, right? They magnetize the world to them, and then they respond and they say, yeah, that lights me up. No, that doesn't, right? A projector is here to be a lighthouse. They stand there with all this knowledge, everything, right? But it's not entered in correctly unless somebody asks for it. And if anybody here is married to a projector or knows a projector, you know, when you're telling them something and they tell you the answer that you did not ask for, you're like, no, not for me. Stop. And then they've just given you their precious resources and you rejected it. And now they're like, kind of got a bitter taste in their mouth. They're kind of, defeated a little bit, right? And then they're not attracting more, right? And it just perpetually keeps going. And so it's like, okay, when you know you're a projector, you work more focused than anybody else. So you should not be working an 8-hour, 10-hour day, right? You should be working small amounts of time, taking a break, small amounts of time. Maybe if you work an 8-hour day, you go to the gym in between, you go for a walk, you get up away from your desk, but you unplug as much as you can, because you're so focused, you will drain that battery and then you'll be overtired.
And no wonder, I mean, I have experienced burnout to the T, because I was working 10-hour day in my corporate job.
Yeah. And a projector loves to be successful. So
right.
you're driven,
right.
But it's not right for you.
Right. And yeah. I cannot explain to you, like, when I read the description, it's like waiting for the invitation. I'm like, what? Like, I'm like a go-getter. Like, I am the definition of a go-getter. But I totally see how many times I have offered my, extreme wisdom right here to my horn for a little bit. But like, I have good things to say. I work, with family and friends, but they didn't ask me for my wisdom. And so it's like shut down. And yes, it's like, oh, okay, well, then I won't share with you my wisdom anymore. So it's like that bitterness. And it's this perpetual cycle. Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, maybe the world is not ready for everything I have to say at this moment. Right. Yeah. And so it's like, when you guys are ready, ask me and I'll share with you. Right.
And when you just show up in your wisdom, maybe it's because you're doing your podcast, or maybe you're making a video to teach somebody something, but you just show up in your wisdom without asking anybody to interact with that, the right people will see it and then they'll ask for more, right? And it seems so counterintuitive, but I was listening to a podcast, the husband's a projector, and he was getting so frustrated at work because he's got all this knowledge and he'd be sending the email and sending in the meetings and just feeling defeated. Nobody's listening. And she said, just try this. And so he meditated every morning with the I'm a lighthouse. He asked nobody to go to lunch, didn't send any emails giving his information, nothing, right? And he's just thinking, this is stupid, right? This is stupid. I'm not. He had invitation after invitation after invitation, people emailing him to ask for his opinion, people in the meeting asking for his opinion, people asking him to go to lunch with them and go to after work, right? Like invitation after invitation after invitation. And he was like, oh, that's, it seems counterintuitive. It seems like, oh, I'll just be sitting here waiting and nobody will see me. And if you're really out of alignment, it's been a while, right? Maybe nobody will see you for a little bit because
you have to reset your energy, reset your vibration.
Yeah.
Make sure you clear whatever resentment you have from all the even in your own strategy, and then allow it to come. Yes, yes, absolutely. So, and then there is another one, reflectors.
So now let's go to manifestors are 8%. So 8% of the population are manifestor. That means that they don't have that sacral like a projector, but they have a energy system straight to the throat. So it means that they get a download. This is the Nike Just Do It, right? They get a download and they are supposed to go do it. And if they don't go do it, they're angry. Get out of my way. Move, right? And so that's why they're not self as anger. And it's not because they're angry people. It's not because, but it's like they have an idea and they're supposed to go do it now, right? Now. and they'll go do it, and they'll have all the energy for it. And maybe they sparked this person and this person and this person because they're energy sparkers. And then they're done, and maybe they think they're lazy or not good enough because they're unplugging now. They're done. They've done their job. They had their inspiration, and now they're like, get away from me. Like, give me some time, right? But the manifestor, it's a very interesting energy because the generator is this warm, enveloping energy. And manifestors, you can't really tell. So any manifestor I have in my life, I just feel like I'm waiting for them to tell me what they're gonna do, and I'm waiting to say them to say jump, and me to say how high, what can I do for you? You know, like I'm just waiting. And a lot of times they're the most rebellious children you've ever had, right? They want to go to the library at 5 years old. They just walk out the front door and they're gone, right? And you're like, no,
I need to run the
can't
chart
do
for
that.
my kids because
Yeah.
I think I have a manifestor. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. It's like, no, you can't do that. And they're like, why not? You know, like, why not? And it's really good if they can rebel a little bit. Like they need safety measures. They're already going to kind of be conditioned to not live in their fullness as kids because it's not really safe for a manifestor to do whatever they want as a kid. But as much as you can, celebrate that rebelliousness, because a lot of manifestors, you'll read their chart and you're like, oh, you're a manifestor? And they've repressed it so much that now they're like, I didn't like it when I said I'm going to go do this and people shut me down. I didn't, you know, or I was really repressed as a kid, or, you know. And so that can be a really hard one to correct if you were a manifestor that kind of had a really tough, maybe controlling childhood.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you got manifestors, and yeah, they're here to be the fire starters. They're here. They were probably the czars in the last lives or whatever, you know, like they're here to, you do this, you do that, you know, like they're here to be the CEO or the entrepreneur that starts something then and drops it. You know, it's like, okay, now you guys do it.
Got it. Yes.
And then there's the reflector, and that's only 1% of the population. They have all the centers wide open, and they're really here. They're really good facilitators. They kind of want to be on their own. They want their own space. They want their own, you know, but when they get called into these groups, they're really good facilitators because they can kind of make sure everybody's heard. They're really good at mirroring the image, and they're really good at feeling the energy of like a restaurant so I'm always like, man, if you could be kind of a consultant and go in somewhere, and that would be really good for you. But my best friend's a reflector, and anytime I tell her anything, the answer gets reflected back to me, right? Like she's always reflecting me back. And
consultants are very good at that.
Yeah. And even we're always kind of on the same page anyways. But when I was saying all the time, oh, I should quit my job, I should start, you know, she should write a book, she should do this. And as soon as I quit my job and started, she started writing. You know, it's like they're really good at reflecting where you're at too. Like,
so like a mirror.
Yeah. And really the reflector, the biggest thing for a reflector is to have somewhere that's your own, right? Your own space in a house, your own area to kind of be by yourself. And then to make sure that the people you're surrounding yourself with are who you want to be, because you're really going to kind of become your group, right? You're going to be the spokesperson for that. You're going to be the reflection of the health of the group.
Yes. And so before we jump into like how we tie this to the astrology, which we're so excited about, I wanted to tie this also to energy just for a second with one example of my own. When I saw my chart, there you go. When I saw my chart, and Angela was explaining it to me, when I'm doing healings on myself, my sacral and my root get blocked all the time. I mean, I clean them every day. I ground as crazy, right? They get blocked all the time. And the way she explained it to me makes so much sense, right? Because I don't have energy there. It's completely open. So I'm getting the influence from the world, right? And so I'm like, oh, I am not broken. It's meant to be like that. I meant to have, a big third eye in the throat and a solar plexus, right? Like this is, and it is, right? I show confidently. I obviously have a podcast. I'm always, give me a microphone and I'm a happy person, right? I have a throat that's completely connected. So it all makes sense, which is one of the parts I like also of all this, because it's like, yeah, I can see like the energy centers and how it affects, your life and what you're manifesting. Not talking about manifesting, but what you're attracting into your life, and why maybe you're having difficulty with creating that perfect life that you want, even when you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing. But it's probably because you're not really fulfilling your strategy when it comes to human design and understanding how is that plunking up all your energy type of thing.
Yeah. And just to point that home again, it's like human beings in general, we love to think that we're broken, right? Like we love to be like, oh, well, they did that. Why can't I? Well, they did, and we love in society to say, look at me. I'm, Tony Robbins. If you're not able to come to a Tony Robbins event and walk away and burn all your bridges and whatever, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you commit enough? Why didn't you? And when we look at these tools, human design and astrology, it gives us where our gifts are. Your gift is speaking, right? You have a you have the 1648. You have the 4323. You have every single gate in the throat except for 2, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7 gates, 7 out of the 9 gates in the throat, right? That's your gift. Your gift is not to go, adrenal fatigue yourself to death working 10-hour days. That is not your gift. Like, that is not what you're here to do.
Yes. I'm having like goosebumps, by the way. It's like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you see that, when you lean into what the gift is, when you lean into that, and then you let go of the stories of why you can't be this or that, or that's what I love about human design. It gives me a picture, and I can see just looking at a chart, maybe where you have some wounding, right? Where you tried to overcommit, where you have a wide open emotional solar plexus and other people's emotions overwhelmed you before, or, feeling so empathetic. Where you've got that wide open G center, which is love and direction. Where's my direction? Where's my direction? Where's my direction? Like we can see where your mind tried to make something of that. And that's what I love about human design. It's like, get the mind out of there. If you want to give the mind something to do, let it chew on. That's what I love about Gene Keys. Chew on my gifts in Gene Keys. And I read them every day for like a year. Every day. This is my gift, and I'm going to read it every day until I believe it, until I step into it, till I see where I'm not living it, right?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And so now you're also combining all this with astrology.
Yeah. And so I'm always like, okay, now people are, I'm teaching them human design, and then they're going, well, what do I do? Why am I stuck here? Or why am I not moving here? Or what? And so I just kept waiting for the next tool to come up, right? Because I knew there's something more. I knew something was coming. And so I'm in this astrology class, and I just learned about solar returns, and I'm really digging deep because this is my next key. I can just feel it. It's like, so in astrology, you have a degree at which you were born. And this is like, there's this tool that you can read the degree of which you were born for every single person. That I'm a 27 degree, there's 30 degrees. I'm a 27 degree Gemini. Everybody that's a 27 degree Gemini has the same theme, right? It's like, okay, how does that work? And then every year on that solar return, that 27 degree Gemini, that degree gives me my life plan for that year. And it's like, oh, what? Why hasn't any? And this is what I talk to my friend all the
time.
My friend and I, we're always talking, and she's my reflector, and she's like, this is why you're doing this. Because I was always like, why didn't they tell us this in human design? Like, she's like, I hated being a reflector until you learned it, right? Like that is what I'm learning. How do I empower people with this information? How do I bring this to the highest degree and not make there is no bad design. There is no bad chart. There is no bad event. There is no, like it's all for our growth. And that's where I look at it a little bit differently than a lot of people. But I've had a lot of astrology readings and they always just read my natal chart. It's like, okay, sure. But what do I do with it? And so when you look at these solar returns, you can see the theme of the year, right? You can see where maybe this is a build year. And so when you're feeling stuck, oh, how many people have that story? I'm stuck. It's a build year. Let's focus our attention on putting roots down this year. Let's focus. Oh, we've got all this energy for learning. Let's focus on that this year. It's not a year to, go out and burn all your bridges and try to create this new business. It's a build year. Right. And my sister, I was looking at hers, and this last year, she thought maybe she'd go back to work. And she just felt really stuck, and I looked at her chart and I'm like, she has all of these things in place saying not your year for this, right? Not your year for this. Next year is though. And I'm telling her this and she's like, exhale, right? Because she's like, why couldn't I couldn't figure it out. Why couldn't I make something happen? Why couldn't I figure it out? Because we want to try to,
well, as you were saying, it's like I'm broken. Like, she's doing it, why I can't, right? And I'm doing all the things.
Yeah. It's a build year. It's not that year. Let's focus. And so I'm really seeing this clear path to give the assignment, right? Let's check in. Let's see, okay, are we living our design? Are we living in our gifts? And then what's the focus of this year? Is it a build year? Is it a home year? Is it a career year? In 3 years, are you going to need all of these tools? Yeah. So let's build the foundational. You didn't do the work this year. Well, then you're supposed to have all this stuff happen next year. You didn't do the work. And then we get so out of alignment and we're depressed and we're, just not feeling ourselves. Well, that's because you didn't do the work for 3 years. You sat there going, oh, I don't know why I can't make it happen. You didn't do the foundational work.
That's so profound. It's really profound. And so when you're talking about the year, so it's from your birthday, 365 days.
Yep.
Okay. And so on your birthday, you can see the next year.
Yep. And you kind of could maybe, if you're really being sensitive, which I'm fairly sensitive, there could be an event or you can feel that year coming about 3 months before it starts. Mm-hmm. And 3 months before this year started, to the day, I went and visited my friend and we're doing these vision boards because it's Aries season, and Aries season is the time to do vision board, right? It's the time to reset. It's the time to look at the year and see. And we're together and we're just looking at the whole year. And I'm just like, ooh, I can feel this year, right? Like I can feel this year 3 months in advance. I can tap into like, ooh, this is what's coming. And yeah, it's just so exciting. And there's some years I don't think people are really going to be seeking this when it's not necessary. But it's like when it's necessary, here's your map. Here's what I'm focusing on. And mine, it's a pivotal year for me to work on my intuition, for me to ground down deep in my body, because next year this is going, right? And if I'm not grounded in my body, if I don't have the tools in place for all the growth that's coming, if I don't put the roots really deep, I might still catapult, but it's going to be shaky.
Oh, it is. Yes. So Angela had a healing last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm not going to share what it is because that's a personal thing. But yeah, she has the powerful upper chakras really beautifully open. So yes.
Yeah. I'm really excited, and it's like, and this is what's magical, right? You dropped in an email to me, and I'm like, I don't know. I was in a Pisces, releasing, I don't know. And it's like the perfect timing, like the gifts that I need this year. We set up, you're going to help me work on them energetically. Right. And I'm going to help you learn more of this human, like it just is perfect. Yes. It's perfect. It was when we get out of the way, and we let things come, it's perfect.
Right. And if anything, this is the way I like to see it. And definitely has to be with me being a projector and wanting to know everything about everything. I mean, like as I say, when I geek out, I geek out. Like I go super deep in a topic. But everything I have learned that helps me understand people opens my heart to compassion in so many ways. I know Enneagram is like old school stuff, but knowing that, for example, gave me an understanding of why people get triggered, why people react the way they do. And it's and and I got so good at it that I see people walking around and I was like, oh yeah, you're a 1, you're a 2, you're a 9, blah blah blah. And that just helps me be able to communicate with them in a way. So the way I'm thinking is like same thing with human design. It's just gonna give me a tool of like, oh, one thing that actually makes so much sense now. One thing that would trigger me as a mom will be when all the kids wanted my attention in different directions at the same time. I couldn't understand why I just couldn't do that. I mean, I'm a multitasker. I've done that my entire life. But when it came to my kids, because they are all different and they all wanted to do different things, and I just felt like I didn't have technically the energy to deal with that because I didn't have the energy to deal with that.
Yeah.
And if I would have known these 16 years ago, I would have saved myself so much guilt, shame, and depression, right?
Yeah.
Because I just can't. And so now it's like, okay, yes, this is who I am. I'm great at one kid at a time.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know this, but I implemented maybe 4 years ago. I take them on a one-on-one trip on the summer because I want to spend quality time with them.
I love that.
But I mean, I guess thank God I had the intuition to do that, but it just goes with my design. Like, it's just
that's what my mom, I didn't even realize that she prefers, like, we'll try to do like a Mother's Day lunch with all of us. And she does enjoy having us all together.
Yes.
But she prefers one-on-one. She'll make a date to go one-on-one with each of us.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. Like we do like a family vacation so everyone can bond. But, and I started saying it's like, oh, your birthday, one of your birthday presents is, one-on-one trip with me, but it's really for me because that's how I make the connection with them, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense now why I have to do it that way. Right?
Yeah. And you've got that powerful mirror. So when you can be one-on-one with them, you can go really deep and give them that mirroring that they want. No, it's really, that's the biggest thing for me too, is human design gave me permission to be me. It gives me permission to see my family members exactly how they are. My husband, my children, my best friend, like it just gives me so much more information about how they are and how I can support them. Right. Mm-hmm. Everybody in my family is open emotionally in this house, but me. So why are they getting all crazy when I'm calm all the time and then I get mad one time and everybody blows up? Why can't they support me? Why can't they? I'm always the calm one. Oh, they just felt that 200 times in their body and they can't not erupt. It's my job to take my emotions outside for a walk. It's my job to go in my room. It's my job to deal with my emotions in a healthy way so that it's not making them uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable, right? Yes. I mean, I've never felt that expanding in my body at 200%, but I know it happens. I've seen my kids come home from school, had an emotional day, and they have to let it all out, and then they're fine. Mm-hmm. And they're calm. The emotional weight of the world is no longer pressing on them.
Right. And then astrology too. I mean, that was probably the first tool I ever learned about how to, I'm going to say like categorize people. I mean, that's probably a horrible way to describe it, but like I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm fiery,
that's why I love you. I'm a Gemini and all my best friends are Sagittarius because we're opposite, right?
Right. My husband is a Gemini and I always like, and I don't get offended, please, but I'm always like, which vein I'm getting, right? Because it's like the two, right?
Yeah.
The two personalities. It's like, which one I'm going to get today? But then I have one of my sons is Pisces. And
I have a Pisces baby.
And, you know, with the Sagittarius, if I don't tone it down, he's always like, oh, you hurt my feelings. And I'm like, what? And I have an Aries and then Sagittarius, and they're like, what are you talking about? She's just, you know, that's just the way she is. She's Latin.
Yeah. No, it's such a good tool as well. And that's where I'm trying to find, like, how can we utilize this even more? I mean,
oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know.
So I have two ideas. One is, when you were talking about this lighthouse meditation and me being a projector, it's like, oh, I'm going to create that. So I'm going to create that, guys, and then I'll make it available for you guys. And because I'm very good at creating meditations, and I'll do some healing sounds with it. But I totally can visualize it. I'm a visual person too. It's like, you know, stand there, projecting your light, and let the magic come to you, right? Like,
I think you should create it for all the types as we learn more about the types together.
Oh yeah, when you teach me all the time, yes, that would be awesome. And then the other idea I had is, and I know you're still trying to like make this puzzle together, right? But like, how can anyone get, you know, in your bubble, in your space? And I'm telling you, like, seriously, when I read I was a projector, I was like, until Angela actually explained to me what it was, and she pointed out all the good things about being a projector and the things I need to watch for. And then I was like, okay, I can be a projector. And then now I just
power. Yeah.
So I totally recommend her, you know, you guys. Tell us about your services. What is like your intro service? Like, people can come to, you know, your space, and what can you do for them, and then stay connected for when this amazing thing that I see bubbling here and getting created, you know, gets out.
Yeah. So right now I do have, my website is evolvingonpurpose.org. You can get a just a human design reading. You can get a partnership family reading where I can, you know, kind of give you, it's an hour and a half. I tried to put parameters on like how many people, but I'm just like, I don't really care how many people. I just will parcel an hour and a half out, you know, like, you want to do all, you know, 5 of you, I'm going to have to run through them all, but I will do it. Like, I want everybody to understand their people in their house. I want, like, that just makes me so happy. And then I do have a one-on-one like coaching. I never consider, I'm a 6 line. I'm not a coach, right? Like, you're a coach, like, you get in there and you tell them, like, one-on-one, but I'm more of a guide, right? Like, I can kind of, a 6 line can really see kind of all the things, and this is what the astrology is teaching me too, is we're in this play, right? Like, we picked the actors and the people, and we have this drama that's about to unfold over the year, and let's look at it and let's see what we can do to really incorporate it in the most intentional way to get the most out of these energies, right? Or to maybe, I have a family member that had a really hard Pluto conjunction in their solar return chart, right? This could be a 10-year cycle. And it was 10 years of this over and over and over. But instead of going and getting the counselor set up, instead of getting the tools in place, they buried it and buried it and buried it. So then they're in the hospital and they're having all these, you know, every single issue that you can have from this event that's supposed to be transformational. It's supposed to transform your life in every way. But when you don't have the tools, when you're not prepared for it, when you're going, am I crazy? You know, like, how there is no bad event. There is no, it's all for you. It's all happening for you. But how can we,
happening for you? Absolutely. Yes.
How can we do it in the best way? So yeah. So if anybody's like, they think they're gonna go through something, or they're ready for something, or they want to make a change, we could do a one-on-one and just really work on this. Bring the human design in. What are your gifts? What are your purpose? What are you here to do? And now, and I'll have to figure out my astrology offering, because I'm really like, this is life-changing to look at your year and have your assignment. Like, how did I not know about this? And how can I give this to everybody? Because if everybody's doing the work, what is the world gonna be? Like,
right? Oh my God. It's such amazing. And I mean, Angela is such a beautiful energy. I just, we met in a networking thingy. Actually, no, we didn't even meet. Like, I saw the list and I'm like, I need to contact her. But, I'm kind of psychic like that. So it was meant to be. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad I wasn't quite the projector that day.
I am too, and I told you this, right? Like, I was not like turned on by the invitation. I was like, I don't know. I was like, and that's probably because it was entered into you inviting me, right?
Right.
But there was something that still made me come, right? Like, I was still there, and now I'm so excited about it. I just feel like what we're doing together might even create something else. I don't know. I feel like we've got a really, really magical connection, and I can't wait to see what comes from it all.
I know. I love it. And so we're gonna keep you posted. So all the links for Angela are gonna be here in the description of the podcast. I am telling you, the free, like, what your chart is doesn't even compare to it. Like, honestly, like, I was just like, no way. And until she gave me a reading. And so I'm recommending her. And I don't do that often here. So please go do it. It's going to transform your life. And so, yes, so we will bring you more of this as, this evolves. I'll keep you informed and posted. And thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today and everybody here. And so if you actually know your human design, put it in the comments.
Yeah. I'll drop in the box too, and maybe we can have some good conversation.
For my projectors. And who are, I need the generators and the manifestors, and we need to, as she was saying, I love how you said that. It's like we all have this role, and like we're the, the actors, and it's like we have to figure out who is in charge of what.
And if you're not showing up in your role, there's a hole. You were meant for that. You're not doing your part.
Yes.
What happens when something doesn't, the whole thing falls apart. That's why we have so much strife. Like,
if like,
let's all get.
If someone else would have played Tom Cruise in Top Gun, it wouldn't be Top Gun, right?
Your place is there. Let's do it.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, beautiful souls. And I'll see you guys next week.